Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Huda Tonight. We will continue the program. As we promised, we're joined by an editor from the Middle East News Agency, or Minna, based here in Cairo, Egypt. This is what we're going to be doing is looking through some of the current news headlines that are of interest to the Muslim Ummah. We have with us Brother Omar Thabet. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Omar.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Welcome to Huda Tonight.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, is this your first time with Huda TV?
No, this is the third time, actually.
Third time,
yes.
All right. Just tell us real quickly what you do at Minna.
All right, basically we gather the international news and we translate it and edit it and distribute it to the local news here.
Okay, so you're responsible, the news that we see in newspapers, your agency is responsible for distributing this news.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Well, we thank you. You do for all your work.
Welcome.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start with a look at the ongoing civil war in Syria. Right. It's been more than 4 years now, and there's been I don't know if you would agree, the recent shift has been the increased participation of Russia in terms of finding a military and political solution. And so this story, we see diplomats calling for a ceasefire. What is your sense of the ongoing so-called the peace talks, the balance between this gun bloat diplomacy?
If we're talking about Vienna agreement that I think it's concluded last Friday. Mm-hmm. It proved that, if I'm going to highlight just 2 points.
Okay.
All right. The first thing is the appearance of Iran on the international arena. Mm-hmm. after concluding the nuclear program. All right, and because now the U.S. has been refusing to let Iran participate in any negotiation. Yes. For a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. But now she knows that it's one party that she can do with in order to reach a solution in the Syrian crisis. Mm. This is number one. And number two, the European Union, I think now it's looking for a room in this crisis in order but it knows that it has a limitation, it goes just for coordinations between parties and bringing parties to table of negotiation. Hmm.
And it seems like one of the main sticking points in the negotiations is what place the current president Bashar al-Assad has. The West essentially up to now has been saying that they cannot see him as continuing to play a role in the government.
Yes, yes. Actually, the outcome was quite unsurprising. Mm-hmm. Because all parties agreed to disagree on the fate of Assad.
Yes.
All right. This is the first one. But the positive thing is they called all the parties, the governmental and opposition representatives to come together to form a new government. And form a new constitution. Hmm. So that's the positive thing. The 17 countries they were
involved in the
yes. And the United Nations plus the European Union. They called the representative from both sides in order to come together and make a new constitution and a new government. Mm.
I want to stick with, for our next story, this decision that we saw. There were rumors circulating last week about the possibility that the United States would finally send ground soldiers to Syria.
Yes.
And so now the announcement is that they will send, but it's going to be a very small force.
Yes. Mm. It decided to send 50 personals. Mm. All right, it's a small in a scale, but it's of significance because mm-hmm. it gives us a lot of point to point out. For example, the New York Times said while the deployment was small in scale, it was large in importance for a president who had refused to commit American ground forces inside Syria and beyond quick rates. And White House officials said the troops would advise local forces fighting the Islamic State or ISIL not to play a direct combat role, but they left open the possibility of sending more troops in future.
Yes, and this is not unlike what we see that just happened about 3 weeks ago. The United States sent another small force of about 50 or 70 soldiers to Nigeria, actually not Nigeria, but Cameroon, for the same purposes, not direct engagement, only for defense purposes.
They just advise the local troops,
right?
And yes,
technical support, this kind of thing. Yes. So I don't know. We have to look and see how effective, if at all, what role this could play.
Yes.
All right. So we'll move. Can you take a look at our next item? It's in the Arabic language there.
Yes. The Russian Foreign Ministry. The Russian Foreign Ministry said no one can do any military action inside Syria without the permission of of Damascus.
Yes.
Okay, and any military action without the permission of Damascus is not appropriate, and it doesn't suit us in any way.
And we have some very clear reasons for this, because there are more people involved now, more countries involved.
Yes.
And we had an episode where a Russian jet came very close to an American jet. There was a near collision.
Yes.
So they have to coordinate their activities.
Yes, that's the real problem here, because they don't want to cooperate. But I think after Vienna Agreement, they need to sit down and to coordinate their military procedure there.
And this is actually not an old issue. If you recall, last year Assad was asking for coordination. But they said we will not, because their refusal to acknowledge him as a president.
Yes.
They didn't want to coordinate with him. Yes. And now we see we're revisiting in a different direction.
Yeah.
All right, so we will also go to a piece from the Telegraph. This is a British newspaper talking about this continued movement of people from the Middle Eastern and African countries across the Mediterranean into Europe. This is, without a doubt, all the analysts agree that this is the largest migration refugee issue that we have faced since the end of the Second World War.
Yes.
So, what's your take on this? How are you reading the news feeds on this?
All right, that's why they are doing the Vienna Agreement. They've done the Vienna Agreement. Why? Because they know that the root cause of the immigration is the civil war in different countries around the world, especially Syria and Libya and some other African countries. All right, that's why the European Union Foreign Affairs Chief Federica Mogherini, she warned the European Union risks disintegration if their leader failed to bring together, to bring a solution.
Right.
Yes, to bring a solution and to respond to the worst migration crisis since the Second World War, as you said.
Yeah, I saw numbers that we've now exceeded 500,000. Is that right, or have we gotten even further along than that?
Actually, there is no confirmed statistics, but she just said we can see 8 million people displaced inside Syria, and 5 million people in Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, and around 400,000 people in the European countries.
One of the greatest concerns is what's going to happen to the refugees once they get there. Let's say that they get resettled by their host governments. If there are no jobs or no job skills, they don't speak the host language, this is going to be a very serious issue. So we hope for the best.
Yes.
Can you take a look at our next item?
It's still about refugees, but it's not that good. I mean, a convict of killing a refugee child admit killing another one in Germany. But the German mass media confirmed that it's not of hatred. It's not of hatred, but I think it's kind of sexuality relevant crime.
Okay, so was this in one of the temporary housing facilities, the refugee camps, where this incident occurred?
Yes, yes. Not in a refugee camp, but I think one of the kid was playing in front of a playground for in some not in a camp. I think not in a camp. No.
Yeah, yeah, and it's with the winter weather coming, and they're in a north altitude. I mean, latitude. It's going to be increasingly important for them to get stabilized.
To settle it down. To settle it down right now, because now, like the Turkish foreign minister has warned that if we didn't solve it quickly, there are like 2 million people will leave because of the Russian airstrike in Syria.
Yeah.
And the winter is coming, so we'll see like a huge rate of refugees in the coming few months.
Yet another reason to be sincere and willing to compromise. Yes. What about our next story also? Can you tell us about that one? Our fifth item.
Fifth item? All right. Yes, the Federica Mogherini, European Union's foreign policy chief, when the European Union risks disintegration if it fails to respond to its worst immigration crisis since the Second World War.
Yeah, she's the foreign policy chief for the European Union.
Yes.
She's saying that the EU member states need to form an integrated policy.
Yes.
Or else it could have a negative impact on, and they're already struggling. There's been, coming out of 2008, there's been a lot of the status of the EU economy, and so there's yet another crisis on top of them, on top of this, and so we can't. Again, we just have to hope and pray for the best.
But this is one like the first statement of its kind, because the Slovenian Prime Minister came a week before this statement, and he said he has predicted that the migrant crisis gripping the continent will see the end of the European Union if the leaders fail to bring it under control immediately. So that like a lot of leaders in the European Union are expecting the same thing if they do not settle it down immediately.
Let's move to a somewhat related story. It takes us to the island nation of Cuba, where the United States has this facility, Gitmo, or Guantanamo Bay. They set this up, as you well know, at the end of the infamous attacks against the United States in 2001, set up by the then President George Bush. These brothers have been released under the Obama administration, going back to various countries, resettled. And so we have yet another story. The last British national has been returned home.
Yes.
This program, as we said, has been more than 10 years, and
13 years actually.
Okay,
13 years.
And so this is actually one of the campaign promises that President Obama made, that he would shut down Gitmo. And so he's still struggling, though. The military and his political opponents have been making it very difficult for him.
Yes, actually, it's an interesting piece of news, because like after he arrived, he will sue the British government for compensation, and it will reach around like $1 million, €1 million, I'm sorry, because of 13 years of behind bars without trial.
This is Shakir Amir?
Amir Shakir.
Okay.
All right. And on the other side, Britain is under a lot of pressure from the United States regarding this guy, to track the activities of Shakir. and it's gonna cost them around $20 million just to track him, because they need to keep him under surveillance. All right. And there is a high-level discussion have been taking place between London and Washington over how the British Security Service will monitor potential threats posed by Shakir Amr, who flew back to Britain on Friday.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine the challenges that he and others face. They've been in detention for some of the longest ones since the prison was set up, you know, yes. 13 years. And he has to reintegrate into
yes.
society.
And first of all, he has to to receive medical treatment, because he has been, as he claims, he's been beaten up, and he's been going through a hunger strike for long days, and this kind of stuff. And now he is receiving a medical treatment.
We will next go to Palestine. We have a story here from the New York Times. This is about the uprising, the Intifada, the third Intifada.
The knife Intifada, yes.
Okay. Nice. So we have been hearing the journalists say it started out, you know, questioning, and the focal point that jumped it off was Al-Aqsa. These incursions by extremist Israelis being escorted by police and soldiers, and the lack of religious freedom of the Muslims to worship in the third holiest site. And so it's also been nicknamed the Knife Intifada.
Yes, the Knife Intifada, yes.
Yeah,
the knife uprising, yes.
Yeah.
Because they're using kitchen knives and reaching Israelis and stabbing them. It might sound a little bit weird, but it gives us an idea or a clue of how desperate they are right now, because now they see the inability of the Palestinian factions, all right?
Right.
And now they are taking the control themselves, all right?
Individual civilians.
Individuals, yes, individuals. Yeah. That's one thing, and as you said, it has a lot of reasons. All right, like the provocative actions by the far-right ministers who visits Temple Mount. All right, and the plan to divide Al-Aqsa Mosque into in time and in place. And there are some incident that happened a month ago, they burned some Israeli extremists. They burned Dwabsha family,
yes, that's right.
And nobody could avenge them. So that caused a lot of anger among Palestinians.
This was one of the most upsetting extremist attacks against an Israeli family. The 18-month-old was killed in the attack.
Yes.
The mother and father died in the hospital some weeks after being treated, and that left his 4-year-old brother alone with no parents and no siblings.
Yes.
So yeah, this was one of the things that happened at the end of July, I believe it was, of this year.
Yes.
One of the things leading up into yet another thing into this Intifada. We will move to our next story. It takes us to this story about the meeting of the Arab foreign ministers to yet again discuss the aggressions. I think with the Palestinians on the ground who are under the boots, and being under the oppression, the brutal occupation of the Israelis, are tired of hearing verbal condemnations.
Yes, that's the idea. That's the idea. And but they're doing a kind of routine. That's a kind of routine. They have to do this because they don't want to look like to be silent.
Yeah, they can't be silent. Yeah.
Yes.
So they can't do much of anything, but at least they can make an announcement. Is the point?
Yes.
All right. So these foreign ministers of the Arab League are going to be meeting in.
The 4th and 5th of November.
Okay.
Yes.
That's later this week.
Yes.
And so, time and time again, we see the Arab leaders, the Muslim leaders condemning these actions. But I don't know. I think as long as the Israeli government refuses to honor international laws and stop its extremist civilians from attacking Palestinian families, that And we have to acknowledge U.S. backing. The rearmament of the Israeli military and the funding enables this to continue.
Yes.
We will next go to an appeal by the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, making yet another appeal to the international community for a help to stop the aggression of the Israeli forces against the Palestinian civilians.
I think he has called he has called for like a special regime of international protection from the International Security Council, and he wants to put an end to the tension between Israeli and Palestinian. But I think he said if Israelis didn't commit to the international law, I think we don't have to commit either. All right. So like it's kind of like late as 20 years, like this statement, but finally he just said it, because he just said like Palestinians always like commit to the international rules and the Oslo agreements and these kind of like agreements, but Israel, they'll never do.
Right. Yes. This takes me back to his so-called bombshell speech at the United Nations General Assembly. We were expecting all kinds of things. There was so much speculation. He would nullify Oslo. He would, maybe resign or do something like this. And then the outcome of the speech was a bit of a letdown.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what do you think happened? I'm just curious your perspective on this. Was he pressured to back down from a position he had, or?
We're talking about Abbas.
Yeah.
I don't think that he had like this kind of intention, all right? But at the end of the day, it just talks, all right?
Yeah. Posturing, verbal posturing.
Yes, but the idea is if we don't take like a very practical steps, like for example the European countries, they are boycotting some like products from Israel. That's a real step to stop Israel, but we Arabs, we don't do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So we will continue and hope that these Palestinians can be protected from both Israeli forces and extreme civilians. Yes. We will go to our next story.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
It's about the most peaceful countries in the world, and then it mentions like some of the European countries and North America are enjoying this peace, while the Middle East are shattered because of the civil war going around in a lot of countries.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, as a result, the status of peace is not equally distributed. It's lopsided.
Of course not. Yes, yeah. Of course not. Of course not.
So we, just have to, reiterate that the economic and political status,
yes.
Has a direct impact on peace in a country.
Yes.
I think we have one more item. This is from the Telegraph again. Can you tell us about this one?
It says like November is the cheapest month to travel. Like that's really funny, because these days like people are reluctant to go to different places because it's drawing to winter. But November, it's surprisingly, it's witnessing some kind of flourishing in the hotel industries and tourism industry, especially in some European countries.
Yeah, and this is undoubtedly related to the last story. I mean, the more peace and stability there is, the higher the tourism. And we have to, since we're in Egypt, we can mention this campaign that we saw that is active. This superstar American actor, Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
He was recently here.
Yes.
And he was photographed with the Egyptian tourism minister with this hashtag, "This is Egypt."
Yeah, I think this is. It was kind of funny, like the banner he was holding, or the stick he was holding.
Yeah.
Something like this is Egypt, or we love Egypt, something like this.
And this campaign, the aim of this campaign is to show the world that Egypt is safe. You can come and see the pyramids.
Yes, yes, for sure.
All right. Well, Brother Omar, thank you so much. We've reached the end of our discussion pieces for tonight. It's very, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us to discuss these.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
We hope to have you back, inshallah.
Inshallah.
All right.
Inshallah.
Well, we have reached the end of our second segment for tonight. We'll take a short break, inshallah, and then come back. We're going to be talking about a very